This week on Hometown Ghost Stories, located on the east rim of Canyon Diablo sits the ruins of an abandoned ghost town. The graffiti-covered bones and the old buildings might appear to be all that remains of Two Guns, Arizona, but according to the locals, there may be something more. Legend has it, there may be something evil lurking beneath the surface, in a cave that runs beneath the town where an Apache tribe was slaughtered nearly 150 years ago. Join us as we explore the history and hauntings of Two Guns, Arizona.
Hometown Ghost Stories contains serious and often distressing events and is not intended for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Two Guns, Arizona, April 2025. It was around noon as we made our way through the sun-baked Arizona desert. The terrain was parched and the sand and rocks crunched beneath our boots as we treaded along amongst the cactus and tumbleweeds. We were making our way from the meteor crash site to a ghost town called Two Guns, pretty much because it sounded cool and it had some interesting history. It was hot, obviously, but the breeze and overall lack of humidity made it somewhat tolerable. I was looking forward to making it to town because my legs were tired and the occasional sighting of rattlesnakes and scorpions made the idea of sitting down unfavorable. "Andrew," said Andrew. Yes, we're both named Andrew. I looked over to see him pointing at what looks to be the ruins of some kind of structure. A rocky skeleton of what was probably a 100-year-old house. Nothing further needed to be said. The purpose of our journey was exploration, and exploring was what we were going to do. There wasn't much there, just some crumbling old walls and broken wooden beams. And, "Is that an entrance to a cave?" I said out loud. Andrew approached and peered down. It appeared to be. I pulled out my phone, opened up Google Maps, and zoomed in on our location. "The Apache Death Cave," I said out loud. This time, something further did need to be said. Exploration was the purpose of our journey, but something called the Apache Death Cave sounded, let's just say, threatening. "Threatening," Andrew said, as if he was reading my mind. "Check it out?" I asked. Andrew just shrugged. There wasn't much to discuss, so we made our way down into the yawning maw of the cave. We quickly had to click on our flashlights as we were hurled into immediate darkness. The cave winded and turned as we navigated through. There were cave paintings on the walls that I kept stopping to snap pictures of, not just because it was fascinating, but also for reference on our return trip. There were several forks and tributaries, very easy to lose your way. I was quite enjoying our descent into the darkness, but Andrew was beginning to lose his composure. He kept thinking he was seeing things. Shadows, as he put it. I tried to calm his nerves by explaining that the shadows were our shadows from the flashlights, but he insisted that the shadows didn't make sense. "There's something down here with us," he said, but I just ignored him and pressed on. He followed as I knew he would, but his light was shaking from his trembling hand, and it was making the shadows dance in an even more unnatural way. The temperature in the cave was dropping the further in we got, and I could sense Andrew's reluctance to press on any further. That's when I heard him cry out and tumble to the ground, his flashlight bouncing on the rocks into the dirt. "You all right?" I asked, shining my light onto him and reaching down to help him up. "Yeah," he said as he got to his feet. I reached down to pick up his flashlight, but he stopped me. The look on his face was that of abject terror, and he just pointed. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end as I slowly turned to see what he was looking at. The flashlight on the ground behind us was casting our shadows against the cave wall. There were 3 shadows. Mine, his, and something else. Someone who wasn't physically there. I'm Dave Wilkins, and this is Hometown Ghost Stories, the Apache Death Cave, Two Guns, Arizona. Long before asphalt roads stretched across the desert and neon signs lit up the American dream, the land where Two Guns, Arizona now crumbles was nothing but raw, ancient earth. This was canyon country, carved by time and wind, dotted with towering rock formations and echoing caves. The desert was alive, whispering through the sagebrush and across the rim of the Mogollon Plateau. To the outsider, it might have seemed barren, but to the native people who lived there, this land held deep meaning, spiritual, sacred, and sometimes violent. Well before Two Guns earned its name, the land was home to Native American tribes, including the Navajo and the Apache. Native artifacts found at Two Guns have been dated back to between 1050 and 1600. Although they shared some of the same land, the two tribes who inhabited the area were rivals and often fought over territory, and the fighting was usually very bloody. In 1878, a band of Apache warriors retreating from a raid sought shelter in a limestone cavern hidden beneath the surface of the earth. They believed they had found safety. What they didn't know was that Navajo scouts were tracking them. When the Navajo found their hiding place, they didn't attack. Instead, they gathered brush and kindling at the cave's mouth and set it ablaze. 42 Apache warriors died, suffocated by the smoke, their screams swallowed by the earth itself. Those Apache who fled the cave were slaughtered by the Navajo waiting at its opening. They never escaped the cave, which became their tomb, earning it the name the Apache Death Cave. Even today, Navajo elders speak of the place with reverence and fear. It's said that the land still remembers the cries of the dying. Decades passed, the land was quiet again, but it would not remain untouched. In 1880, long before Two Guns was established as a settlement, the construction of the Santa Fe Railway was progressing across northern Arizona. In the spring of 1882, the progress of the railroad came to a sudden, screeching halt at the edge of a massive gorge in the Arizona desert known as Devil's Canyon. The engineers took one look at the drop and they knew they'd need a bridge, and that meant waiting. For at least 6 months, the iron beast of westward expansion would be stalled, but the railroad men didn't idle. They built a work camp right there on the edge of the abyss. Within weeks, the camp swelled to over 2,000 men, mostly rail workers, gritty, sunburnt, and soaked in sweat and whiskey. And wherever desperate men gathered, so too did those ready for profit from desperation. The business community of this new settlement rose overnight, and it didn't rise clean. Saloons, gambling halls, and brothels sprang up like cactus flowers after a hard rain. Gunfights rang out before breakfast. Fistfights spilled into the dirt streets. And since there was no one to stop it, the town leaned into its lawlessness with open arms. They named it Canyon Diablo. And its main thoroughfare? Hell Street. Canyon Diablo never pretended to be anything but what it was, a violent, greedy, blood-soaked pit of vice. And anyone foolish enough to try and bring order found out just how fast the town could chew them up. The first marshal walked into town at 3:00 p.m. He was dead before the sun set at 8 that night. They buried him in the rapidly growing Boot Hill Cemetery, which soon filled with gamblers, drifters, thieves, and unlucky men who crossed the wrong path on the wrong street. 5 more marshals would try their hand at taming Canyon Diablo. Each one ended up dead, shot in the back, thrown from saloon windows. One had his badge shoved into his mouth before they buried him. Only one marshal ever lasted a month. His name is long forgotten, but his record stands. And then, as quickly as it erupted, the fire burned out. The bridge over Devil's Canyon was completed, the trains rolled on, and Canyon Diablo was abandoned, left to the coyotes, the desert wind, and the ghosts. Today, Canyon Diablo is little more than rubble and ruin, scattered foundations and sun-bleached timbers. But those who visit say something lingers. They tell of cold spots near the remains of what was once Hell Street. Sudden, icy breaths of air that appear under the scorching Arizona sun. Some visitors report hearing gunshots in the distance, followed by men's laughter, the clink of a glass, and boots crunching in the gravel. When they turn to look, there's nothing there. And the marshal. The first one. The unlucky man who didn't last a day. They say you can still see him. A tall figure in a long duster, badge barely visible on his chest, is said to wander the bridge at dusk. Witnesses have claimed he wears a twisted scowl on his face, a look of confusion or rage. Paranormal investigators who have explored the bridge have claimed to capture EVPs of a man's voice whispering, "They got me." In the early 1900s, as America began to sprawl westward, a new trail carved its way through the desert. Route 66. This mother road brought dreamers, drifters, and opportunists. About 3 miles from Canyon Diablo, another small town sprang up. The town of Two Guns. The first settler at Two Guns was Ed Randolph, who built a store next to the Death Cave. Then, in 1922, Earl and Louise Cundiff saw potential in this lonely stretch of Arizona. They bought 320 acres for $1,000 and built a modest trading post, a restaurant, and a gas station to serve travelers crossing the harsh Arizona terrain. Earl was rooted in practicality, offering services, supplies, and a brief respite from the road. Business was good. But the desert has always attracted more than just entrepreneurs. It draws the eccentric, the dreamers, and the dangerous. Enter Harry E. Miller. Miller was unlike Cundiff in every way. A self-styled adventurer and showman, he branded himself as Chief Crazy Thunder and dressed the part, often appearing in Native American regalia despite having no known tribal affiliation. He was a fast talker with a flair for spectacle, and he saw in Two Guns not just a business opportunity, but a stage. In 1925, Miller leased part of Cundiff's land and immediately went to work creating a full-blown roadside attraction. He erected a zoo, housing mountain lions, snakes, Gila monsters, coyotes, and bobcats. He charged tourists to pose with the animals, feed them, or simply gawk. But his crown jewel was the entrance to the Apache Death Cave. Miller turned the massacre site into a macabre tourist trap, giving theatrical tours of the cave where, according to legend, over 40 Apache warriors were slaughtered by Navajo pursuers. He went so far as to sell bones and ashes from the site as souvenirs. To Miller, this was commerce. To locals and historians, it was desecration. And to the land, it may have been something worse. The exact reason the relationship soured is lost to time. Some say it was about money, others say control of the land, and a few whisper about a personal grudge. What's certain is that by 1926, things had turned violent. On a tense March day, Miller and Cundiff confronted each other near the trading post. Accounts differ. Some claim Cundiff had grown fed up with Miller's exploitation of sacred ground. Others say Miller believed Cundiff was trying to sabotage his business. The argument escalated, and Harry Miller pulled a gun. He shot Earl Cundiff dead where he stood. Miller was arrested and put on trial, but in a surprising twist, he was acquitted, reportedly on the grounds of self-defense. Harry Miller walked free from court, but many say the land passed its own judgment. Many believe that Miller was cursed due to his desecration of the final resting spot of the slain Apache. Even the Navajo, the tribe responsible for the mass killing, respected and feared the cave. But Miller exploited it and removed bones to sell as trinkets. The series of events that occurred after the Cundiff shooting is what led people to believe that Miller had violated a curse. One day, while tending to the animals in his homemade desert zoo, Miller was bitten by one of his own Gila monsters, a venomous lizard native to the southwest. The venom coursed through his veins, and Miller was reportedly bedridden for days, hallucinating and sweating through fevers. Shortly after recovering from the bite, in a freak accident, 2 of his mountain lions escaped their cage and turned on him, mauling him savagely. Whether it was neglect, bad luck, or the animals sensing the decay in their keeper, no one knows. But Miller was left bloodied and broken. He recovered, but his luck didn't turn. His once flourishing empire began to burn. Literally. The zoo caught fire under mysterious circumstances. The trading post and several outbuildings were consumed by flames, and a gasoline explosion tore through the area not long after. With each blaze, it was as if the land was trying to erase him. Eventually, Miller disappeared from Two Guns. Some say he fled Arizona. Others claim he died a forgotten man, consumed by madness and fear. One old-timer swore he saw Miller in a New Mexico sanitarium, talking to shadows. The ghosts of both Miller and Cundiff are alleged to haunt the ruined town of Two Guns. Numerous visitors have claimed to have seen a limping figure stalking the edge of the ruins, face hidden beneath a wide-brimmed hat and one arm tucked against his side. It's believed to be the ghost of Miller, despite him not dying in town. The ghost of Earl Cundiff is believed to haunt the old gas station as well as the area where he was shot down. The Apache Death Cave is believed to be haunted by the ghosts of the slaughtered tribe. The spirits are believed to be hostile and violent due to the manner of their deaths, as well as the desecration and exploitation of their resting place. Some report the sighting of shadow figures following them through the cave, while others report a sudden burning sensation on their hands as if bitten. More strange reports include disembodied groans and phantom footsteps. While the hauntings of the Apache Death Cave are fascinating, and as much as we like to explore the unknown, I advise against exploring this cave, as the experts have deemed it an unstable system and unsafe for exploration, but also as a gesture of respect for the Apache who met their end there. Sometimes it's best to leave the unknown to the unknown, and the land to the spirits who considered it sacred.
What is going on, folks, and welcome into Hometown Ghost Stories, episode number 160, The Apache Death Cave, Two Guns, Arizona. I'm Jesse Wilkins. I'm joined by Rob Coakley. Hello, Rob.
It is episode 160, and I think we've done it. We've found the coolest town name, and nothing has ever been as cool as this name or will ever top it. So shout out to Two Guns, Arizona.
Absolutely. We're also joined by Dave Wilkins. Hello, Dave.
Hey, what's up? Arizona seems to have all of the cool town names. We got Two Guns. We got Tombstone.
Yeah, Tombstone is actually really good too.
Yeah, that's it.
That's another cool one. Yeah, I'm sure there's more. We'll have to look into it.
Phoenix.
Yeah,
that actually is a cool. Yeah, that's cool, man. I like it. I like it a lot. Before we hop into it, I want to give a big shout out to everyone hanging out in live chat. We got 20 gifted Hometown Ghost Stories memberships on YouTube from Lockwood and Company, 10 gifted from Matthew T, another 10 gifted from Whisper, $20 in super chat from Kitten Clown Dozer, and then happy resub day to Chris P and the one and only legendary Demon King. Thank you so much for the generosity and the gifted subs. Make sure if you got one, you say thank you. Today on the show, we do have a special guest. We're going to be joined by Brennan Storr, who is from the Ghost Story Guys podcast. I got it down. I rehearsed that 100 times and I still didn't get it right. The Ghost Story Guys podcast. Great podcast. And he joins us now on Hometown Ghost Stories. Welcome in, Brennan. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me. Been looking forward to this.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Also, look at that. Matthew T, little resub as well. Happy resub day to Matthew T. So the Ghost Story Guys.
Real quick, let's give a shout out to our RIP of the week, which is Jay Gooch. Some numbers, I think, right?
723 maybe.
Sure. Jay Gooch knows who he is. Thank you for being our RIP of the week.
Somewhere in the 700s. He's roughly the 720 something Jay Gooch.
Yeah, he's one of them. We've only had like 719 other Jay Gooch RIPs. Also, I want to say that if you are eligible for the shirt giveaway for the 5-star reviews, we're 2 reviews away on Spotify right now. So make sure you show me those 5-star reviews on Discord or shoot us the email for those. We'll probably be pulling that next week. And if you are a $10 or $20 tier member, we just dropped exclusive content on Patreon. Our first ever mini-sode, which is Ellisville, Mississippi. So you can go check that out on Patreon as well.
Mini-sode?
I don't know, dude. We're working. We workshop these names. What do you want to call it?
We'll run with mini-sode for now.
All right. Dave's a Dave-sode.
Yeah.
All right.
So that
We're rocking and rolling now. Anyways, welcome into the show, Brennan. First time on the show. Tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Yeah, so I do the Ghost Story Guys. Been doing that for about 9 years now, and we tell first-person true life stories of the paranormal, and then we kind of break down each story, talk a little bit about what's going on, how it relates to other phenomena that we've experienced or we've read about, and just sort of life in general. It kind of spins out into all kinds of madness. Sometimes people say the chatter is more substantial than the ghost stories, which I would believe. That seems very likely. And yeah, every once a week we do that. Every other week we do a mail show called Talk Spooky to Me. It's on the same stream and we're on the same RSS feed rather. And we answer listener mail. And it's sort of a combination of the paranormal and life as it happens. And
Very
then
cool.
I also write the podcast Fear Daily, which is a daily horror fiction podcast hosted by Brandon Scheck-Snyder of Southern Gothic.
Oh, yeah. We're big fans of Southern Gothic. Had him on the show, I don't know, about a month ago. Awesome dude. And
We didn't, but
didn't have him on the show.
didn't have him on the show.
Southern Gothic.
We did.
Oh, we dropped, well, kind of. I mean, he was on our podcast feed.
We're
yeah.
in talks to have him on the show in the future, though.
You know what's funny is we had such a long meeting on StreamYard that I fully thought we just did an episode with him. So it hasn't been on the show, but we did drop an episode of his show on our podcast. So it's technically been on our show. We just didn't have a live conversation with him. So
Semantics, right?
yeah. Whatever. It still counts. So yeah, you can find the Ghost Story Guys on your favorite podcasting platforms and go check it out. And but we're talking about Two Guns, Arizona today. Nice little opening there from Dave. Some jump scares in the intro. I don't know how that's going to play for the audio version of the podcast. Might have to edit those out because it's going to make no sense on the audio version. But
I thought about that as it was as we were watching it, and I don't think I can edit it out at this point because I believe I deleted all the media.
You shouldn't, but you should add in. There was a scary image here, just in the most monotone voice ever.
Imagine
really
image.
Yes.
I like it. 10 gifted coming in from another Vice on YouTube. Very generous day on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. Keeps the show going.
Yeah.
Speaking of keeping the show going, let's hop into some of the stories of Two Guns, Arizona here. Again, just the coolest name for a town.
It really is. And
I'm from Marshfield.
I know.
Marshfield is where I grew up. That is not nearly as cool as Two Guns, Arizona.
I'm from Revelstoke. It sounds like an English guy who's going to die from some kind of consumptive disease in his 20s. It's not very cool.
Still better than Marshfield, I think. I don't know.
It's a toss-up.
Yeah. So just real quick, if you are listening to the episode, the podcast, and you're wondering what those scary sounds were and why you jumped out of your skin for no reason, there is a visual side of this podcast. Come check it out. And also, there was one other thing I wanted to say, but I forget. So if it comes back to me, I'll say it.
He's going to say it.
It's really good to forget that stuff on a live podcast that you are steering the ship of.
That's right. For those other audio listeners that realize that they didn't hear those scary noises, that's because I figured out a way to edit it out. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't go back and listen to it 55 more times to see if you can find those scary noises. So, balls in your court, folks.
I don't want you to edit it out now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to edit you out of this entire thing.
Don't fight.
The other thing I was going to say, which I now remember, is acknowledge that I mispronounced Gila monsters. I said Gila monsters because I didn't know, because I've never heard that word said out loud before. Didn't even know what a Gila monster was until researching this episode. So that's pretty cool. Apparently they're poisonous lizards
That will almost kill you.
Don't have them in your petting zoo.
That guy's whole story just goes to my theory that no rich person should have their own petting zoo. Because there's that one guy, was it Lord Aspinall? He had his own petting zoo. He was an English guy, and it also had something that ate a child or tried to eat a child. And I just think, no, this is a crazy rich person thing. This is the best case scenario for a private pet zoo is the movie Roar. And that's not great. It's just, that's the best case scenario.
I saw that.
Oh, if you haven't seen Roar, check it out. Tippi Hedren, Melanie Griffith, they had their own private big cat sanctuary. And in every shot, every person is terrified for their lives. The animals maul them on camera.
I know of this. I've never watched it, but I've read the backstory on this movie.
Yes.
Where like everyone in production was just getting mauled by lions the entire production of this movie.
Yeah.
And they were filming it for like years because of it.
Everyone kept, Jan de Bont, who would go on to direct Speed. I think he was a cinematographer. He got scalped
Yeah.
During production.
Wouldn't you pull the plug after the first one?
No, you got to keep going, bro. You gotta.
Got to commit to the bit.
Yeah, you got to commit to it. Yeah, I have read the. Weirdly, I've never seen it, but I've read a whole thing on the backstory of that movie. So that is one of the crazier ones. I do want to watch it at some point, but it's absolutely wild.
Yeah. So, Two Guns, Arizona. Basically, this place was established in the 1920s, but before that, it was just area that was occupied by both the Navajo and the Apache, and they would basically fight back and forth. So in the opening story, I had mentioned that the Apache were fleeing from the Navajo, which made the Navajo sound, like a bunch of big meanies. But to be fair, the reason they were being pursued was because that Navajo tribe had raided. The Apache tribe had raided a Navajo camp and slaughtered everyone and stole all their stuff. So
so maybe they're the big meanies.
Exactly. So they were being pursued, and they're pursued right into this cave where they were hiding. And the Navajo found them, and it's presumed that they were just staking out the mouth of the cave, so that they could, when the Apaches came out, that they could kill them as they came out. So they set that fire to smoke them out, and a couple of them came out, and they were slaughtered. And the Apache actually attempted, as soon as they realized that they were trapped in there and the smoke was coming in, they slaughtered all of their horses and stacked them up at the mouth of the cave to an attempt to stop the smoke from coming in, but it didn't work. And 42 of them died in there, which is pretty grisly. And they believe that is why the whole town seems to be cursed. And this town carries one of probably the most convincing curses that I've ever heard. And it's basically this series of events that I kind of went through in the beginning. So it starts kind of when the Cundiffs bought 320 acres in 1920 when they came in, and they basically set up this, what was effectively like a rest stop, sort of. Mm-hmm. And they, before we get into the Cundiffs, I wanted to talk about Canyon Diablo Bridge, because this was in the 1880s when they built this bridge, because they had to have the train come through. So this was way before Two Guns even existed. And it's basically connects what is now Two Guns to the rest of the other side of that canyon. So in order to build this bridge, they had to set up camp for a while, and this whole like crazy Wild West town set up. And they couldn't get sheriffs to stay alive in this town for longer than I think a month was the longest any one of them lasted. The first one showed up to work at 3 and was murdered by 8. And he's the one that they believe haunts this place.
Didn't even get a full shift in.
No, it's not even a full. He couldn't even collect a full paycheck.
Yeah. Couldn't even take a break yet.
Yeah. He was it was probably on break time and just about to get his first break of the shift and just taken out.
Yeah, brutal. But they kept killing these sheriffs. It was like the most lawless of one of these like gold rush. This isn't a gold rush town, but like that's the style of ghost towns that I've ever heard. And to be fair, like maybe a lot of them like that, but this one stuck out to me as seemed like the most brutal.
As is traditional on a Dave episode, his internet is messing up. See if you can clear that up, Dave. Sorry. Go ahead, Brennan.
I was going to say, I want to know where they kept finding these sheriffs. I mean, this seems like the misplaced confidence of a Batman goon.
Yeah.
Because you keep running in like, no, I'm going to be the one who gets in this time, guys. Trust me. And then you see Bob, you get your arm broken. The next guy after, he still runs in. After about 6 dead sheriffs, I think I would be finding another line of work.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough job to fill. Like, hey, listen, if you make it through the day, it's a good day. I promise you.
Look, the pay is terrible, and you'll probably be murdered. But the pay is terrible.
Within hours, you might die.
Easily. Everyone will hate you. You will never know a moment's peace. But
we have this desk for you to sit at. You could sit at this desk for like 4 hours before you're dead.
At least we have a stapler. You can't use it because we don't have any staples, but we have a stapler.
Also, the stapler might kill you. So be careful.
Also very possible.
Everything could kill you. Dana asks, was one of the Andrews in the story a Wilkins brother? Actually, yes. So big shout out to Andrew.
Some know him as Captain McSlugs, who actually went to Arizona specifically to get this footage.
Yes, we sent him right out there.
Yeah.
And, so most of our listeners know that our opening ghost story is usually a work of fiction that's based on an actual haunting. So people claim to see shadow figures in the cave. So when I wrote the opening ghost story, that was sort of what that was based on. And the two Andrews were Andrew and his friend Andrew, who did go to Two Guns a couple weeks ago, actually. So those were the two Andrews in the story.
I do hope we keep upping the ante, and every time we send out someone to film the footage, now they have to find two other people that have the same name, and then so on and so forth. And eventually the ghost story will be like, Brian, and Brian. Went along with Brian, who was meeting up with Brian. It's going to be perfect.
I do like thinking that the third person to show up at the end of the story, the third shadow, was actually Apache Andrew. So that there was actually a third Andrew in the story that we were unaware of.
Just ghostly whispers. I heard the Andrews were meeting here.
So the bridge is now haunted by the ghosts of, they believe it's the first sheriff, but it could have been any of them, I suppose, because they were all murdered. But it definitely seems to be a sheriff because the apparition wears a badge and dresses like a sheriff. So
makes sense.
So paranormal investigators go there and they catch EVPs all the time. The most infamous EVP is somebody caught a whispering voice saying, "They got me." And that's pretty creepy. So that kind of makes sense with the
lines up with the story.
Mm-hmm. So it's not just ghost hunters that go there. Treasure hunters go to this bridge also, because while Canyon Diablo was an active town, there was, this is a quick story. Just if my internet starts fucking up, just cut me off and predict where the story's going.
Oh boy, our own story. Great.
So 4 men employed by the Hash Knife Ranch robbed the train at Canyon Diablo in 1889, then fled on horseback with $100,000 in currency, 2,500 new silver dollars, and 40,000 in gold coins as well.
Not bad.
They also got some jewelry, some watches. And then a posse led by Sheriff Bucky O'Neill pursued the bandits, but recovered. Bucky McHat pursued the bandits, but recovered less than $100 when the men were captured. Years later, after the release from prison, one of the thieves disclosed that the stolen goods, along with their rifles, had been buried in the canyon rim near Two Guns, but the location remains unknown. So you could find a treasure in Two Guns. It's possible. But yeah, so the Two Guns actually showed up as a town about 40 years after the Canyon Diablo town. And it was started by Earl and Louise Cundiff, and they opened up a post office and a restaurant and a gas station, and they named it Two Guns. And Earl wanted to open a post office, but the federal government wouldn't let him because they said, "That's a ridiculous name. We're not giving you a post office."
Oh, no. The fun police stepped in.
I know. So he changed the name to Canyon Lodge, got the post office approved, and then changed it back to Two Guns.
Oh, hell yeah. That's job, Earl.
Which is fantastic. So that happened for a little while.
And a tradition of that, every bar that's ever been on Bar Rescue does the same thing. Frank Taffer comes in, changes the name, and by the end of the show,
John Taffer. You can't just change his name now. You're not one of these owners.
That's what we're doing. We're changing names. John Taffer comes in, he changes the bar name, and then by the end of the show, they change it back.
Rob, you're lucky because honestly, if you get John Taffer's name wrong 3 times in a row, like he will kick down your door and just start screaming at you, "Shut it down!"
just shuts my stream off.
Starts going through your oven to find grease. What's this? You're gonna make people sick.
It's like, I'm on a podcast. I'm not cooking food for any of these people. Thank God. None of these people know how to eat on this show. Maybe Brennan does, but these other two, they don't know food.
The audio.
I know how to eat. How much I know about food is another matter entirely.
I own a fucking restaurant. I think I do.
Yeah. So then this crazy guy, Harry Miller, shows up, and this dude is basically the Tiger King of the 1920s. And he is a poser. He lied and just made up the fact that he's an Apache, part of the Apache tribe. Well, to be fair to him, historians believe he made it all up because he didn't behave like an Apache. He called himself Chief Crazy Thunder, which was definitely a moniker that he just self-appointed.
Sounds
And
like a Kiss song too.
it does. And he bought the area that the Death Cave is in and collected a bunch of skulls from the dead Apache warriors and then sold them, which is not something that an Apache tribe member would do.
Right.
None of them would do that because it's desecration, obviously. So people believe that he violated the curse, and that's when this whole string of crazy cursed events started happening. And it started with minor stuff, like a pair of grifters came into town and robbed Harry Miller's store, stole a bunch of stuff.
I would say that's just a thing that happens.
Yeah, it is. It's the Wild West, but he violated the curse, and then next thing you know, bad things started happening. That's kind of how curses work, right?
Sure.
If that was the only thing that happened, I was probably not a curse. But
Story over.
Yeah.
They got robbed. Cursed.
It's a 7-Eleven across the street from me that's pretty cursed then.
Yeah, keeps getting hit, right?
yeah. So that happened, and then him and Earl Cundiff got into a fight, and he ended up shooting Earl, and Earl ended up dying. And then he got off. I've heard that he was just not convicted. I've also heard there was just no trial, which I guess if there's no trial, you were not convicted technically. And he never had to face, any consequences for that.
Why?
I
Because
don't
all the sheriffs were dead?
Well, it's probably that, or I think you just get 1 and 2. Like if you're in a town called Two Guns, you just get 1, right?
No, you get 2, obviously.
Oh, you get 2.
can kill
You get
2,
2.
but then you got to stop.
You got to stop after that.
And one of them has to be the existing sheriff.
I got to say, Arizona giving you 2 free murders explains a lot about Arizona.
It might. Yeah. I think we're getting to the bottom of it here.
Figuring it out.
Well, I think that he might have got off because if it was an altercation in the Wild West, it could have been like a self-defense situation, or it could have just been like it was a duel. They used to do things like that. This is the 1920s, though. It's not really the 1800s, so maybe there was less of that. But this town, I don't think it had a police station. It was a gas station, a trading post. I don't know, but there were legal consequences because when Earl Cundiff was buried, his gravestone was inscribed with "Killed by Indian Miller," and that pissed off Harry Miller so much that he went and desecrated that grave by dumping red paint all over it.
Oh,
He
damn.
was charged and he was convicted for that. So,
But not the murder?
But not the murder.
What are we doing?
I mean, that says a lot about the judicial process, that property is more valued than human life. I think that is just a proud tradition that goes right back to the dawn of law enforcement.
It's like, hey, I killed the guy, but I didn't desecrate his gravestone.
Yeah, come on, jeez. What are we, animals?
No, we keep all of those over in the roadside zoo. They're poisonous. I shouldn't touch them.
yeah, so that happened, and he was convicted of that. So the curse continues in 1929 when the town burned down. So this place everything's pretty much made of wood, and it's a desert, and everything's dry. So when something catches on fire, they usually just lose the entire town, and that's what pretty much happened in 1929. So this was an unfortunate event for all involved, but it was worse for Harry because right around the same time he was bitten by one of his Gila monsters and poisoned by it and almost died, but he recovered just to be mauled by 2 of his mountain lions. So everything burns down, you're mauled by your animals, nearly killed by them. We're starting to think that this could be a curse that, it's starting to sound a little bit more like a curse now, I would say. So
Or a bad zoo owner, or just a bad zoo owner.
I mean, or it could be proof that karma's real. This is a guy who murdered someone, then desecrated his grave. Why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Such a good guy.
I don't think the concept of karma is that far off from the concept of a curse. I think
Yeah, I think the two could go hand in hand.
they're like cousins, right?
Yeah. They do say that that Earl Cundiff's ghost
still haunts the property. Were you going to get to that? I don't want to spoil anything.
I was going to get that.
I'll shut the fuck up.
We know you want to spoil things. Who spoils more shit?
I have
on this
Dave's script
show?
here. I'm just going to jump ahead every single time. Like, hey, this is where it's going to go. Just so you know, I'm the guy who said that. I think we have a special emote for spoilers, right? I think it's wearing a cowboy hat. This is probably an appropriate time to start dropping this in chat, folks.
Yeah, drop your Jesse spoilers section at Arizona. It all works.
Yep. That's right. So after the fire, Louise Cundiff claimed ownership of the land, rightly, because her and Earl owned 320 acres, and because she wanted to get compensation so she could have her trade post rebuilt and her restaurant rebuilt and whatnot. And then Miller, this piece of shit, he decided that he was going to go to court and say, no, I own this land. I was here before the Cundiffs. And that didn't work out because they were like, you pay us rent, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reading there's like this huge paper trail. This is like the worst. This is like the worst counter lawsuit of all time. It's like, nah, I was here first. It's like we know you weren't. We know everything. We have an entire, like, you wrote a receipt. You put the date on it. We know what's going on here.
I started paying rent to them before they even owned it.
Your Honor, I'd like to invoke the statute of nuh-uh.
What I'm guessing is that they probably lost a lot of the records of the fire. They probably lost the deeds. They probably lost the any rental agreements or payment situation they had, because everything obviously was paper back then. And he probably was an opportunist and was like, I can seize the opportunity because I haven't done enough to destroy this lady. I murdered her husband, got away with it. Now I'm going to take your land from you also.
Painted his headstone.
Yeah, no, don't paint on his headstone.
That's probably his claim to ownership there. He's like, I've been doing work for them. I painted that headstone. So yeah. I own this.
That's right. And but fortunately, he lost that suit. And he pretty much after that left town because there was nothing left there for him. And it's believed, no one really knows what happened to him, but there was that one claim of a witness saying that he saw him in a New Mexico sanitarium talking to shadows. So also adds up to the curse, right?
I kind of like to think he got done like Brad Pitt in Meet Joe Black, where he just got hit by a van, then hit by another van, then hit by a third van.
That would be good. Great scene, by the way.
That's actually what happened. That's what happened to most of the sheriffs, actually.
Right. But so yeah, Louise, after Miller left town, Louise rebuilt everything except for the zoo, but it all burned down again. So people just really believe this town is cursed.
Yeah, this is starting to feel like a curse.
Yeah. So she left after that, and the town was a ghost town, literally a population of 0 for about 40 years until the 1960s, when a gentleman named Benjamin Dreyer bought it, and he rebuilt it, and he even rebuilt the zoo and put a whole bunch of new animals in the zoo, and they're petitioning to have an off ramp from Route 66 that would direct traffic right to Two Guns, and it was going to be awesome, except it burnt down in 1971. And it has been a ghost town ever since. Literally population 0. So that's the cursed history of Two Guns. And it's, like I said, a ghost town because the only thing that's left there are the ghosts. And like Jesse said, the ghost of Cundiff is alleged to haunt not only the buildings that he owned, but also the area where he was shot. And they see him on like the outskirts of the ruins walking. And also they believe that he haunts the site of his grave, which is in Winslow, Arizona, which is pretty close.
So with all these things that they built, did they ever build a fire department? Fire station.
It burned down.
Yeah, it was
It's always the first to burn down.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem with this town though was that it was never civil. There were really no houses. You know, I think the Cundiffs probably lived in their trading post. They probably had probably a house also. I'm speculating, but there was no like village or anything. It was just kind of the people who lived there had their quarters and whatnot, but there would be no reason for a fire department, because fire departments back then were comprised of volunteers. So
Sure, but like after the 17th time that your village burns down, you don't think like maybe, or not a village, I guess, but after your place of business burns down, I don't know, it keeps burning down. I think after the second one, we'd be like, wait, we should have a fire department to
have
stop this from happening 43 more times.
2 buckets of water next to the zoo in case this happens again.
2 guns, 2 buckets, 2 dead sheriffs this week.
I'd be curious to know how much insurance they had on this place, because this sounds like a few nightclubs I've known in my time. Oh, it burned down. Jeez, that's terrible. Oh,
Yeah.
guess
I'm guessing
we take our insurance payout and leave.
My car happened to be parked inside the club when it burned down. I don't know why.
My Ferrari full of rare art. Is,
Yeah.
my gold bars.
We always keep our rare art inside of our Ferraris, folks.
Yeah.
I think there was no insurance because they were petitioning the federal government for a grant after the fire. So that leads me to believe there was probably no insurance.
The federal government didn't understand. They just granted them another fire. Like, if that's what you want, you want a fire grant? We will grant you a fire.
Right. So yeah, we have the ghost of Earl Cundiff. There's also the ghost of Miller. And he's said they see his apparition was a limping figure stalking the edge of town, and his face is hidden beneath a wide-brimmed hat, and he has one arm tucked against his side. So he's believed to haunt there, even though he didn't die there. And we've had this happen a few times. We talk about it all the time. We don't believe.
Yeah, but there's rumors that he was like practicing rituals and dark magic and things like that, and maybe that's why he haunts the place. I don't know if those rumors are true, but that is part of the reason that they think that he haunts the place, even though he may not have died there.
Yeah, that is possible. It's also possible that maybe a curse tied his spirit there. Maybe that's some shit that I just made up. That
I like that. Sounds good. Works for me. We'll run with it. It's fact. Write it down, folks.
Well, I mean, you did say that he was going into the cave and taking human remains out of it. And yeah, I could see the curse tying his spirit to the land if that's something that's possible. And as you were saying, Dave, we don't, just because you die somewhere doesn't mean that's where you are going to haunt. That is not how residual hauntings work by any means. Mm-hmm. We know that residual hauntings, you could show up a number of places that you were within your life and be doing mundane tasks. They might just be seeing him do one. It might just be a residual haunting of him limping away from one of his animal attacks at his zoo.
Could be.
Right? Like
that's fair. Yeah, our theory, Brennan, is that if ghosts are energy that you can, wherever you expend energy, that could be a residual haunting after your death.
That's an interesting theory
on residual hauntings.
Fascinating. Yeah, no, I mean that makes as much sense as anything.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were referencing there. So the Apache Death Cave is haunted, and it's believed that it's haunted by the ghosts of the slaughtered tribe, which adds up, right? That's a lot of violence, a lot of death, a lot of energy, all leaving the living at one point in time in a violent way. So that's kind of why there's a lot of haunted battlefields. So this I feel like applies with that theory. And that's what attributed to the sightings of strange shadows in the cave. It's just, which when I'm first reading about this, I'm reading about shadows in a cave. It's like, well, if you're in a cave, you have a light and there's going to be crazy shadows everywhere, right? Because the light's moving. But people say they see like flitting shadows that like run across the cave, I mean, it could be a bat, it could be whatever, but the story is they believe it's shadow figures.
I mean, when my wife and I, when the co-op housing across the street was demolished, for about 3 weeks, we had tiny shadows flitting past the baseboards, and they weren't rats, they weren't animals, but it was like something had been chased out of the structure after it was demolished. In our apartment building, like we have stuff that passes through. We don't have like a resident haunting, but these things, man, they're just, again, about that big and just flitting by the baseboards. Cats would notice them, but
Thanks.
Yeah, I hear about that all the time, where the animals notice the stuff, even stuff that we can't see. But it sounds like everybody was seeing those. That's creepy. Do you look into like the history of the building or anything and see why it might be?
A building across the street? No, the neighborhood where I live on the West Coast is it's all built on landfill, And I know there was some burial ground a little bit to the southwest. There's a house. I won't get into it. I won't derail this, but there's a house down there that's deeply, deeply haunted. And that is right smack in the middle of the burial area. So I don't know if we're just kind of on the picking up kind of residual from that, but it's something, because again, that house is rough.
And where are you? Tell everyone your exact address.
Yeah, give us the
In the next part of the show, he'll be revealing his credit card information.
Honestly, that's gonna be of even less value to you than my address.
You also mentioned that there's the footsteps in the cave as well, which I have a hard time with, just because the noises that you hear in caves in general. So unless it's like right on you, I'm curious. Again, I'm skeptical of things until I hear it myself, and then I'm sure people are hearing things. I'm not discrediting that. It's just, are they hearing them close to themselves? Are they hearing something throughout the cave system?
Right. I assume you'd be able to rule out your own footsteps echoing, because a cave would echo, right? Mostly. And I think that if you were walking in a cave and you heard your own footsteps echoing.
I'm not saying your own. I'm saying just something within the cave system.
Yeah, they could be. I mean, even Andrew, when he was there, he came across snakes and things. So if those things are moving around, they could be bumping rocks. Rocks tumbling down could sound like footsteps, I guess. But that's not the only thing that people hear. They also hear like whispering. They hear screams, moaning. They've spotted ghostly figures near the entrance. Some of them are detailed. Some of them describe them as like native warriors. And they say that it's one of those ones where they believe that if you take like rocks or artifacts from the caves, then you could get cursed as well. And that could lead to misfortune. Some people have reported illnesses. So it's not just the shadow figures. It's not just the footsteps. There's a lot here, including a potential curse.
Mm-hmm. The other weird haunting that happens in the cave is that people will feel a burning sensation on their hands as if something bit them. That's weird. It's
also alarming, because there are poisonous snakes. So make sure that something didn't actually bite you.
Yep. So that's weird. I mean, the burning thing is weird because, well, I know the Apache didn't burn to death, or maybe some of them did, but I just associate that with the fire. It also could be somebody knowing the history and almost sort of, kind of seeing what they want to see or feeling what they want to feel, if they know what the hauntings are. Are you sure
they didn't get burned to death? Because a couple of sources say that the remains were found charred and burned.
They could have got, so the what I'm reading is that they died from asphyxiation because they got smoked out, and they couldn't escape the smoke because they were, obviously in a cave and they were trapped. So and you couldn't light the cave on fire. It's rock. So what they did was they threw a bunch of brush at the mouth of the cave to start a fire, and that's the smoke went in and choked them all to death.
Oh yeah, maybe they had tried to
push their way out or something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, the cave could have heated up and they could have just cooked, right? Like a smoker,
maybe.
I don't know. Either way, horrible way to go.
Yeah, for sure. There's also been orbs, mists. People report feeling dizzy, nauseous, and emotionally disturbed while standing. Even they don't have to be in the cave; like they get those while they're even close to the cave. And man, I really wish that this said something else, but I keep reading this. It does say some claim that taking rocks, but I keep looking at that and I keep thinking that I'm seeing some claim that there are talking rocks. And I'm like, I gotta go experience that. I want the rocks to talk to me. I've been trying this my whole life. Doesn't work.
Well, if
you get the rocks to talk to.
Exactly. Do enough Arizona drugs and everything in that cave will talk to you.
Yeah, just hit up a Wawa on the way there. You'll find enough stuff there to make anything talk to you.
Yeah. Perfect.
Just go dig through that old zoo. I'm sure that guy was hiding some drugs somewhere.
Do they sell peyote at Wawa in Arizona?
I mean, hey, it's worth a look.
They allow murder, so probably.
Only two. Only two.
But I think they've adjusted that since then.
Perhaps.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, and apologies if I'm stepping on something you've already got prepped, but I found an article from Pin in the Atlas where some folks were in there and were suddenly from what it sounds like, they're pretty used to caving. But one of them suddenly was just hit with this intense feeling that they should not go any further. And it was not a particularly challenging cave. It didn't seem like there's anything about it that sort of marked it out as more dangerous than anything else. But it just had this intense feeling that no, we have to leave now. Oh. And it reminded me of a story that we talked about on Ghost Story Guys with the Nutty Putty Cave. Are you guys familiar with that story? Where
I don't think so.
So this isn't a ghost story. The first part, this poor bugger basically took the wrong route and ended up upside down.
Oh, yeah. I do know that. Yeah, actually, oddly enough, Dave's kids told me about that story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he got very stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're very stuck, very dead. But one of our listeners, I guess, had been in, according to them, had been in there the week before that happened with a group of friends, and they claimed that they had a voice just screaming in their ear that no one else could hear, saying, "Someone is going to die," and it discomforted them so badly that they had to leave. They scuttled the whole trip because it freaked them out so badly. And of course, none of them died. But a week later, this dude got wedged upside down, and eventually his heart stopped.
Yeah, absolutely tragic. Like they were just trying to figure out a way to get him out and everything, and he was very stuck upside down too. So
yeah,
that's too bad. Every time they tried to pull him out, I guess he was just getting more stuck and just screaming in pain. Horrible story, and predictably now that cave, I believe, is closed for good because of that. But actually, it's funny that you bring that up because Andrew was telling me, like, when he was in there, they went through a bunch and got the footage and everything. And then at one point they're like, we got to turn back. And not just because of like an eerie feeling, but it was also like there was a bunch of different directions to take. They didn't have a map. So they felt like this is a recipe to get absolutely lost forever. And it's not like you can scream for help. There's not a line of people. There's nobody else there. So dangerous situation. Yeah.
I know where this is.
First one was a great movie. Second one, not so much.
I didn't even bother.
Don't. But if you get that voice or that feeling when you're in a cave system of all places, that's the one place that you definitely have to listen to it, right? Like that is the one place where I'm gonna turn back because this is already a terrifying experience, and I don't want to end up upside down or stuck in an endless cave system.
Well, I mean, just in terms of intuition, I had a thing once on my first ever visit to LA. It was my last day in town. I'd never been. I always wanted to go, and Roast Battle at the Comedy Store was having its moment. It's actually 10 years ago this May. And I wanted to go check it out, but I could not get myself out the door. Could not make myself go. There's a part of me that was like, no, absolutely not. And so I just gave up. I ordered a pizza. I watched a movie on TV. And shot the breeze with the pizza guy and went to bed. Well, that night, at the bar out front of the Comedy Store, where I like to hang out in between shows, there was a shooting.
Oh.
Comedy Store is also rumored to be haunted as well. I almost covered that in an episode, didn't I? Doing it.
Yeah, I've talked to a few guys there, and they said very much so. It's some guys call it a vortex. Other people have different theories, but yeah, they say it's 1,000% haunted.
Yeah, I was watching an interview with Jeff Ross, and he was going on about how it was haunted. And then while he was giving a tour, I think it was to the Ghost Adventure guys, like the stage lights started kind of acting very strange as he was telling the story about one of the guys who had ended his life there. And so pretty cool spot.
I'm trying to think if it was Jeff Ross who heckled me at the Comedy Store.
I mean, it seems highly likely.
I can't remember.
kind of what he does, right?
There's a big bald guy who does clean up there in the original room. Like during anyways, I'm sorry, I'm derailing this. Please continue.
No, you're fine. Do you have anything else, Dave, on Two Guns, or is
I wanted to hit on the zoo because the zoo is allegedly haunted as well, and there's nothing crazy like apparitions there so much, but people hear growling, disembodied growling and scratching noises, which people believe could be the ghosts of some of the animals that were there. I don't have any specifics on if any of the animals died in the fire, but you'd assume probably, unfortunately. So the zoo itself is alleged to be haunted, which occasionally we talk about ghosts of animals. We get ghost cats every once in a while.
Yeah, well, they had his it might be something darker than that because they had said that he was doing these rituals. They said that the property had like these altars and markings and they were thinking a lot of the objects were linked to witchcraft or the occult. And after his death, there was rumors spreading that, basically they thought that he had disturbed ancient spirits or kind of made the curse even worse. Make a song like that. The curse is worse.
Yep.
But yeah, so I don't know. These are all rumors and legends, so we don't know if he was actually doing this stuff. But yeah, I don't think you want to disturb the ancient spirits. Sounds like a bad idea.
But yeah, so the zoo allegedly haunted by possibly ghost animals or growling demons, and then the abandoned gas station and trading post is also haunted. People they see apparitions and they catch EVPs there. So a lot of ghost hunters visit Two Guns, Arizona, which is pretty much ghost hunters and treasure hunters. That's pretty much it. Guns.
We need to go find the treasure, I think.
Yeah.
And declare Dave the sheriff of Two Guns.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We
It sounds
hardly
like
knew
fun,
you.
but I feel like after like digging hole number 2 would be like, oh god,
Just in rock. All rock.
I don't want to dig anymore.
Yeah, this is a bit too much at that point. Any closing thoughts from anybody on Two Guns?
No, very cool. Definitely on the list. Current status: Ghost Town.
Ghost town. Population
Hell yeah.
0. I think there's like a campground nearby or something, but no one lives there.
Pretty cool. We'll have to find like 7 Andrews and head there.
We should buy it. Everyone's trying to get us to buy the SK Pierce mansion. Maybe we just buy maybe we just buy a whole town.
It was on the market until 2022, 3.9 million.
3.9 million for the whole
For
town.
2 Guns? We could buy 2 SK Pierce.
No, I'd
almost
rather-
3 SK Pierce mentions for that.
Yeah,
Never
that'd
mind.
be-
It's off
yeah.
the table.
Yeah.
Brennan, what you got coming up on the show? Anything good planned?
We got an episode on hauntings in Delaware coming up. We just did. We've done a couple episodes on time slips,
Ooh.
and I think that's all the new stuff for the time being. Yeah, we're just every 2 weeks is a new story episode. Every other week is a mail show, and whatever topic that happens to come to my diseased brain is kind of whatever we go with. So we've done hauntings of Pittsburgh. We've done full countries like Vietnam, oceans. I think we recently did Indiana. We've done Chicago, and we like to sort of usually around the U.S., but sometimes we do Canadian cities as well.
Beautiful. Yeah. It's good to spread it around,
Yeah.
'cause there's enough content to go on forever. And
Yeah,
you've done a
you'll
lot
never
more
run
episodes than us so far. So you said nine years you've been podcasting?
Yeah, we started on in January 2017.
Wow. Nice.
I've been doing it full time since the end of 2020.
Beautiful. Well, keep it going. Once again, make sure you guys check out his show. And the links are actually in the show notes. So we put a link to his Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you're looking for something else to listen to, definitely give it a gander. Go ahead and listen to it. Anything else, gentlemen?
Want to
We
jump
jump
into
into some reviews and stuff?
Yeah, let's jump into some 5-star reviews. The first one is from Big West, titled A Great and Funny Listen. I've been binging all the episodes for the last week while kayak fishing. Half of that sentence is good. Fishing sucks. They do a great job of researching and telling the stories. Their banter and commentary afterwards is funny as well. Glad I found them. Thanks for leaving that 5-star review.
It's a great review. And don't listen to Rob. Fishing is great.
Fishing sucks. This next one
Two
is,
votes for Rob.
you also think fishing sucks?
Fishing, the outdoors sucks. If it's not a coffee shop, a bar, or a movie theater, I'm not interested.
Thanks for coming by, Brennan. It's been great to have you.
You must say. This next one is from JP, titled Follow-Up Review. I just love Hometown Ghost Stories. It is such an awesome podcast. I look forward to watching every Tuesday night. The chat community is amazing and fun and hilarious. The Discord community is also great. Dave, Rob, and Jesse are good at everything that this podcast brings to the viewers and listeners, such as the opening video, the ghost stories, the discussions, the banter, and the investigations that they share with us. Also, the side content is awesome, and the movie reviews are also fun. I'm lucky that I can listen to HTGS while driving to and from work. It is my favorite podcast.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Finally found someone that likes our movie reviews.
A lot of people like our movie reviews. I will never get over someone leaving us 1 star because they didn't like the scores we gave a movie that they hadn't watched yet. That is
Yeah, that does blow my mind. Yep.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, the internet.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I know this isn't a 4-star movie.
I know this isn't as good as you said it is.
Yeah. Like, also, it's like, you can, like, if it's not your thing, that's okay. You don't have to listen to the movie reviews. You can skip it. It's okay. But you should. $10 in super chat from Lockwood and Company. Thank you so much. He says, for your 2 guns purchase. So that is $10 towards our 3 point whatever billion that we will need to purchase 2 guns, Arizona.
Chipping away.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All starts with Lockwood and Company.
Before we get into the Patreon names, I just want to reiterate that if you have left your review in Discord, I have that. If you've emailed in your review, just email it to me one more time just to make sure that I have it before next Tuesday.
Didn't we do this? I thought we completed this. Didn't we do this?
We can talk about it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, this is the first I'm hearing of it, so it took me by surprise.
It's not the first you're hearing of it, but that's fine.
Let's hop into our Patreon, starting with our VIPs. We have the coolest town name is actually Booger Hole, West Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
Good challenge right there to 2 guns. We have Trapped on the Titanic with Bucky McHat. I like that. I'd watch that movie. I'd watch it several times. I'd be emotional. We have Ryan F. J. Gooch 725. There's the number. It was 725. Is that what we said? I think I was on point.
Close.
Yep.
That's the RIP, though.
RIP of the week. Thank you, Jay Gooch. We appreciate you. Jennifer A, Jeremy M, KCW, Brandina 77, Kathy F, Kitten Clown Dozer, Ghost Nurse, JP, Another Vice, Dave has a new kangaroo onesie with a bottom flap, West Virginia coal miner, Tess, Apache, Andrew whispering sweet nothings, Kate and Steve M, Sharon V, Glitter Tees, Cammy from Washington, Kelly C, Jennifer P, you shall call me Sheriff Zabe of 2 Guns Town.
Damn, RIP.
Rest in peace. Yeah, I guess that's our RP of next week. We have Donnie N, Inspires Gaming, Allison V, Robert H, Anna C, Emmanuel Kent, a real pissant, very rarely stable, Mom and Pops W.
You have to sing it. It's from Monty Python. Emmanuel Kent, a real pissant, very rarely stable.
I didn't know that.
You did.
Now
you do.
All right, now I will have you sing it every single time because I will immediately forget the melody. Mom and Pops W, Father Squatch the Elder, Lisa J, and we also have And I'm All Out of Bubblegum. Next up, let's hop into the Warrens Wards. We will kick that off with Lisa G, Angelic Insanity, Draw Me Like One of Your French Ghosts, Susan C, Degenerate Gambler, Voodoo Ghost Who Shouldn't Have Hit on 19, Jamie E, Nick M, T-Cat, Ghostly Whisper. No, it's Ghostly Whisper. Ghostly Whisper. It has changed.
That threw me all off.
It did. Threw me off too. Jeremy M, The Macho Mandolf, Beth C, Rachel G, Sarah B, Her Lady Spookship, Victim of Ohio, Morgan S, Julie Gooley, Colby Remembers, Kath Q, Chris Connolly, The Other Rachel B, Sarah Cook, Mar Fire, Lily, Anthony, Hey Rob, hope you enjoyed WrestleMania T. Did you go to WrestleMania?
I mean, I watched most of it, but I didn't go to Las Vegas and then get back to it.
All right. Rob's belly button is an Apache with 2 squirt guns.
All right. Let's relax on my belly button. It's a perfect belly button.
Perfect. It's just higher than usual.
It's not even. It's perfect.
It sounds like something the guy with a messed up belly button would say. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, it says perfect. Yeah.
No, it's perfect.
Location, not perfect, but depth and width, yeah, some say it's perfect. Tennessee has the most documented caves in the U.S. I didn't know that. Princess of Sass, a queen of Church of the Stephanies, Fave Mod, Steph A, and Seth on guitar. And then finally, we will hop into the Ghost Pirate Mafia, starting with Karen S. Bring out your dead. GS Warrior, Mothman, Metaghost, Nun, and JC Petty's Cult of the Miscellany, G.O.B, Grim B, D the Lobster Dancing, Banana Land, Dinosaur Monster, Just Ghostly, Witchy Kitty 416, Karen L, Michael M, Rob's Backyard Hot Dog, and Something Party Extravaganza. Welcome back to Patreon, Regina. Dropping words that'll get us banned. Amber R, Brant C, Mrs. Nardozzi, Shane O'Mac, Joe, Trevor S, Christina S, Kate C, Kelly C, Bloop, Crazy Legs, The Sloppy Joe, Blob, Cowboys are the worst franchise ever, Miss Macabre, Michelle, Nuroku, Cold Warrior, Rob whipping shitties in a ghost wheelchair while enjoying the freshest pizza from Ohio. Man,
Ohio still sucks. I'm letting you guys know it is the worst state.
D from H-Town, Meta A, Monster Mom 04, Wicked Alley, Dark Snark. Choose a major that you'll love and you'll never work a day in your life because that field isn't hiring. Megan S, Arcade Hunters, Wayne C, Rob's belly button is a deep well where frogs croak.
It's not even. It is the perfect depth. It is the perfect snipped belly button.
I'm liking.
You guys are all
Just
just jealous.
These Patreon
of
names are going.
We
Yeah,
have
what is
Crystal Quinn, aka not a Rob fan. Thick Boy Freddy's baby mama was definitely yeeted. Alicia E. Thick Boy Freddy ambiguously inserting an obscure reference here. Perfect. Help! I'm stuck in Rob's belly button. I'm
God
surrounded
damn
by.
it, what is happening?
This is the best random fact that I completely made up. It has completely changed the course of the show. Help! I'm stuck in Rob's belly button. I'm surrounded by soup and hot dog hands. Sam from the Ball, Joe R, Al Capone, Huggy Bear, and coming soon the Ryman Auditorium presented by Dave. Where did I get the word Benjamin out of that? What is wrong with me? I just completely made that up. Solar Flare, Mariah M, Kiralee J, Cody G, Hooply Whooply, Soph, and Colonel Dunk Thumbs Bergamont. That's a good adjustment there. Dunk Thumbs is a wild word to come up with. Anyways, that is Patreon. So $3 a month, that'll get you there. You get early access to episodes. As you go higher in the tiers, you get more cool stuff, exclusive content, ad-free stuff, merch, discount codes, all sorts of goodies. Stickers potentially made from the one and only legendary Taco Violator. So big shout out to Taco. Looking forward to seeing what you got there. I think that'll pretty much do it. Make sure you follow Brennan, listen to his podcast. Links are below in the show notes. Give them a listen. Tell them how much you like it.
Yeah.
That's what you do. That's what we do.
Thanks for having me, guys. This has been a lot of fun.
That was actually a great time. That was good fun. Good fun. And that'll pretty much do it. Anything else, gentlemen?
That's it for me.
All right, cool. We'll catch you guys next time. See you.